Hello and welcome to Freya's Tropical Garden. We're in the middle of June and the weather's been quite disappointing so far, which is unfortunate because I've been preparing to sell plants at my first ever summer fair and a lot of them just aren't ready yet. However, here's what we've got coming up for you on today's episode. We look at 10 fast-growing tropical plants for UK gardens, and I've got part 3 of my Eden Project series. But first, let's see what's changed in my garden since the last episode. Last year, the plants in my garden had grown bigger and more established than ever, with plenty of beautiful flowers breaking up that lush green foliage. But for those of you who haven't seen the last couple of episodes, I am going to be moving house soon, so I'm having to dig up my entire garden. This is heartbreaking, and it's a learning curve myself in trying to work out the best way to get plants to survive. You can see all the plants that I was growing last year in this section of the garden, now all gone. I've removed the beds and I'm getting this whole area ready to put grass seed down. Now it's a bit late in the year for sowing grass seed, but I'll give it a go. All the plants that I've been digging up, I've been putting on my patio because that gives them some shade while they try and recover and make sure they don't get transplant shock. But I've had to reorganise it to get to the back, so now I've got pathways amongst the plants so I can actually access everything to water it properly. I've also bought this label maker from Amazon, which is really easy to use. I have an app where I can type the name of the plant that I'm labelling, and then I click print and it will print the label out for me. This is really important when I'm digging up plants because some of them will die back to ground level and I won't know what is in each pot unless they're properly labelled. And I'm looking for something that's not going to fade away over winter. Now, while digging up one of my beds, I uncovered this stump which had live root at the bottom, and it wasn't anything that I was growing last year, so I was a little bit confused at first. Then I realised it was in the location of a brugmansia which I'd grown the previous year. So I've potted it up, and as you can see, there are little green shoots starting to form on it, so this is really exciting. At this time of year, when cannas are just opening their first leaves, they don't always look at their best, and this can easily be confused for canna virus. However, once the first main leaf opens up, you can see here that the stripes are full and strong, and there's no sign of canna virus in this plant at all. Since the last episode, my Lilium Claude Shride has flowered. This is a really attractive plant with masses of deep pink flowers and attractive orange anthers. I have now dug this plant up to make sure I don't lose it when it dies back. The flowers on Lilium Tiger Babies are similar in shape. This is a new variety for me this year, and I ordered the bulbs before I found out I'd be moving. But I found this out by the time that they arrived, so rather than planting them in the ground as I planned, I planted them straight into a pot. I've also now got flowers on my rose Roald Dahl. This is a David Austin variety of rose, and I absolutely love these compact apricot flowers. And my begonia Santa Cruz has started to flower again. You may recall last year that this adds a massive splash of colour into the border and continues to flower throughout the summer months, so this will need to be dug up quite soon before it grows much bigger. My arum lilies are still continuing to flower well. This is a particularly large variety of arum lily called Hercules and is identified by the white spots on its leaf. Solanum pyrocanthum is often known for these vibrant orange spikes that grow from the leaves. However, I absolutely love the pretty purple flowers that form on it too. I grow this plant in pots anyway, so it's easier to move indoors over winter. My Nephophia are still producing plenty of flowers, so I'm going to wait until after this one's finished flowering before I dig it up. And my Canna Patterns is starting to flower. This variety of canna does flower a lot earlier than the other varieties I grow in my garden, and it will continue to flower throughout the summer. However, it does look at its best at this time of year. In the last episode, my Peony Bowl of Beauty was starting to flower. This is a beautiful plant in late spring that comes back year after year, and I really look forward to these wonderful large pink flowers. It's easy to see where it got its name Bowl of Beauty from. In the last episode, I showed you that my Dracunculus vulgaris was just about to start flowering. This is a variety of voodoo lily which has flowers that smell of rotten meat to attract flies to pollinate it. If you're avoiding this plant because of the smell, then don't worry. It only flowers for a couple of days before it starts to die back. And if you're not going out into the garden every day, then there's a good chance you might even miss it. Unlike other varieties of voodoo lily, with Dracunculus vulgaris, once the flower starts to die back, the whole plant dies back to ground level. So I've had to act quick to dig this plant up before it dies back and I lose where it is. Sauromatum giganteum is another variety of voodoo lily that I grow in my garden. I accidentally dug this one up when I was overwintering an alocasia. This is the problem when you're digging plants up that have already died back to ground level, and I'm lucky that the plant was still intact. The Sauromatum venosum voodoo lilies are also now starting to grow their leaves, so I've dug these up before the leaf started to open to minimise the risk of transplant shock. I've also dug up the Paulonia, which I coppiced earlier in the year. It had produced a new shoot, but that snapped when I dug it up. However, as you can see, it's already started to produce 3 new buds at the base, and these will grow really quickly this year. My gunner is also getting bigger than it has been in previous years, with several very large leaves growing on it. And each leaf has a much larger diameter than last year's leaves. This is going to need a very big pot when I dig it up. And I haven't dug my Crocosmia lucifer up yet because it's about to start flowering. I will let that finish before I dig it up. Many plants go into transplant shock when you dig them up from the ground. This is because they don't like having their roots disturbed, and also because they've probably lost a good deal of roots as you've dug them up, and they're therefore unable to support the same number of leaves, so the leaves start to wilt and die back. You can help the plant by cutting back some of the leaves so it doesn't have as many leaves to support. Or in the case of this Brunnera, you can actually let the leaves die back because it will start growing again from ground level. And you can see here the new shoots are already starting to emerge. The leaves of my yellow Nephophia all drooped when I dug them up. And these can be cut right back if you want, but they are still photosynthesizing, so I've left them on the plant. And as you can see, it's already starting to produce some flowers this year. So for now at least, I won't be cutting these leaves back. And palm trees don't tend to show transplant shock by drooping, the leaves will just turn brown. And I'll cut this off later to tidy it up. My Tetrapanax had already started producing leaves when I dug it up last month. And although I cut a few of them off, the remaining leaves did still die back. It will sulk for a bit, but I'm sure it will start growing some new buds again soon. And digging up plants from the garden does give you an opportunity to divide plants. This Musella lasiocarpa banana has several pups, and I can see one of them has good root. So I've separated it from the main tree and potted it up, and this will be available for sale in a month or 2. Many of the plants that I've already dug up and divided have been offered for sale at the St Thomas More School Fair. This is the first time I've had a stall for selling plants. We had lovely weather and I really enjoyed the day. But I do still have plenty of plants left over, which I'll be putting on Facebook Marketplace in the next few days, such as Nephophia nobilis, Canna Cleopatra, Alocasia gagiana, Zingiber myoga white feather, and Colocasia pink china, amongst many others. Coming up next, we've got a video about 10 plants that will grow really quickly in a tropical garden. If you're new to tropical gardening in the UK, chances are you're looking for plants that will provide quick height or spread while you're waiting for slower plants such as hardy palms to grow. This video will show you 10 plants which are great for filling a gap quickly, although of course other factors such as weather may affect the actual growth of these plants. Paulonia are a genus of hardwood trees native to East Asia and widespread through China. Also known as the princess tree, it can grow up to 12 metres tall and is one of the fastest growing trees in the world. Commonly grown in the UK tropical gardens for its large foliage, Paulonia tomentosa is a hardy deciduous tree with leaves that can grow up to 30 centimetres long. However, in order to maintain its spectacular foliage, it must be coppiced or pollarded each spring once it reaches around 3 years old, and will grow to around 15 feet tall in a single year. However, if it's not cut back, it will produce beautiful lilac-coloured flowers in spring. As these flowers only form on old wood from the previous year's growth, they will not form if the tree is coppiced. Gardeners must therefore choose between growing Paulownia for flowers or foliage, as the leaves become much smaller if the tree is not cut back. It grows well in most types of soil in a sunny position. Ricinus communis is also known as the castor bean or castor oil plant. Ricinus is not hardy in the UK, however it can be grown as an annual and it will grow around 6 foot tall or more in a single season. Ricinus is native to the southeast Mediterranean, East Africa and India, but it's widespread throughout the tropical regions and is considered an invasive plant in some countries. In the UK, however, it will die back over winter, and although you may get 1 or 2 self-seeded plants the following year, this is not problematic. Many tropical gardeners grow ricinus for its large tropical foliage with leaves that can span 45 centimetres, and several varieties have beautiful dark red leaves to add contrast. Even the seed pods can produce interest, with some varieties sporting vibrant red pods. It's easy to collect the seeds and grow again the following year. However, seeds are highly poisonous if ingested. Musa basjoo is also known as the hardy banana and is native to southern China. It can be grown outdoors in most of the UK. In colder areas, it may need added fleece protection or may die down to ground level over winter, re-emerging in spring. In warmer areas of the UK, it can be left unprotected. Its long green leaves can grow to around 2 metres long, which helps its overall height reach approximately 3 metres within a couple of years, and this plant is undoubtedly a stunning sight in any garden. Musa basjoo will not produce edible bananas, however it can flower in the UK, producing small seed-filled fruits. Once the banana finishes flowering, the plant will die. However, several new pups or new banana plants will grow from its base. Musa basjoo can be tricky to grow from seed. However, small plants are widely available, and I would not recommend spending a lot on larger plants given how quickly it will grow and multiply. Ruum palmatum is commonly called Chinese rhubarb, although it's not edible and shouldn't be mistaken for rhubarb. It's native to western China, northern Tibet and the Mongolian plateau. It's well suited to a tropical garden, with its deep green leaves with red underside, adding texture and colour as well as growing up to 75 centimetres long to add a really tropical feel. Flower spikes can reach up to 2 metres tall. Ruum is hardy throughout the UK, dying back to ground level and quickly regaining its size in spring. It thrives in full sun or partial shade and prefers plenty of water in the warmer months, growing best in acidic to neutral clay or loam-based soil, making it an ideal plant for a bog garden, or it will grow well at the edge of a pond. Canna are vibrant, tender perennials native to the American tropics that produce large tropical leaves and beautiful, vibrant flowers in shades of red, orange, yellows and pinks. There are many different varieties and some are smaller than others. However, varieties such as Musafolia and Russian Red can grow up to 8 feet tall, adding height very quickly in your garden. Cannas can be left in the ground all winter in the warmer areas of the UK, where they'll die back to ground level and re-emerge in spring, or lifted and the rhizomes dry stored in cooler areas. If adding canna to your garden, it's best to buy established plants so you can verify the health of the plant, as when buying rhizomes you cannot see the signs of the dreaded canna virus before you've bought it and the leaves have already started to grow. For more information on canna virus, I've added a link in the description. There are several varieties of ginger, but a few of the hardier varieties can be vigorous growers. One of the hardiest varieties in the UK is Hedychium densiflorum, which can be grown in much of the UK. It can grow 4 to 9 foot tall, with beautiful orange flowers in late summer. Another variety, Zingiber myoga, can survive down to around -16 degrees. This variety spreads fast, and I would advise using a root barrier if you have limited room to grow it. Less vigorous varieties, such as Dancing Crane and White Feather, can make a beautiful alternative. Some varieties of ginger, such as Hedychium gardnerianum, are hardy in warmer areas of the UK, but will not grow so well from ground level each year as they would if brought indoors, so their foliage doesn't die back. Melianthus major is also known as the giant honeyflower, native to South Africa. It's an evergreen shrub which can grow outdoors in milder areas of the UK all year round. However, it will die back to ground level in severe frost. Adding mulch around the base will help protect it from colder winters. Its unique blue-grey foliage makes it a superb architectural plant. It can grow 2 to 3 metres tall within the space of one season. In summer, it produces tall spikes of reddish-brown flowers that appear to be dripping with honey, giving the plant its nickname. However, the flowers form on old wood, therefore will not appear if the plant has been cut back by frost. Melianthus major can become leggy after a couple of years of growth, and if that happens, simply cut back the foliage and it will grow back stronger and bushier. There are several varieties of salvias, and they can vary in height and appearance. Salvia amistad is a fast-growing tropical plant native to Argentina. It can survive outdoors in milder areas of the UK, dying back to ground level and re-emerging in late spring. However, it can easily be propagated by cuttings which can be taken indoors over winter for insurance. Salvia amistad can grow over 1 metre tall in a single season, producing stunning tall purple flowers in late summer until the first frosts, and is an ideal plant for attracting bees to the garden. Salvia bethelii is similar to amistad in terms of height and hardiness, however it produces beautiful pink flowers instead of purple. Nicotiana sylvestris is a fast-growing, short-lived perennial known as the woodland tobacco plant. It's native to Argentina and Bolivia and is not hardy. However, in the UK, it's normally grown as an annual, reaching to around 1.5 metres in a single year. It's easy to grow from seed and will produce plenty of seeds that can be collected for the following year. In summer, it produces stunning white flowers and makes a beautiful addition to a tropical garden. Nicotiana glauca is very similar to sylvestris, however the flowers tend to be less spidery, but more colourful. Bamboos are some of the fastest growing plants in the world. Unfortunately, this can lead to some varieties being particularly invasive. However, care should be taken even when planting clumping varieties to use a root barrier, or even better, to keep them in pots. One of the fastest growing bamboo varieties is Philostachys edulis, which in good conditions can grow to around 1 inch an hour. Native to China and Taiwan, it can grow to a height of 28 metres and is hardy down to around -15 degrees. Dendrocalamus giganteus is one of the tallest bamboos, growing up to 50 metres in height. Philostachys aureoculus is a beautiful bamboo with yellow canes and green stripes running down them. Bamboos flower once in 100 years, however when they do flower the plant dies. Next up, we've got part 3 of my Eden Project biome videos on the Rainforest Biome. The Eden Project first opened in a disused China clay quarry in 2001. It is a world-renowned experimental garden which has become a must-see attraction near St Austell in Cornwall. The Rainforest Biome houses plants from tropical Asia, Africa and South America. In part 2, I started to provide information on some of the plants that you can see growing here. In part 3, I will take you through a few more. Lodoicea moldivica is commonly known as the sea coconut and is endemic to the Seychelles. It has the largest seed in the plant kingdom, weighing up to 17.6 kilograms, and the fruit can take 7 years to mature. It prefers full sun or partial shade, but does not do well in pots. Becaria phoenix madagascarensis is also known as the coastal Becaria phoenix, native to Madagascar. It looks similar to the coconut palm, but is more robust and tolerates cooler climates, even tolerating light frost. Bismarckia nobilis, also known as the Bismarck palm, is native to Madagascar. It's one of the most majestic palms, growing to 12 to 21 metres, often with beautiful silver leaves, although this green variety is still a stunning sight. If grown indoors, they're best grown in a conservatory and can take brief dips to around freezing. Alpinia purpurata is commonly known as the red ginger and is native to the Pacific Islands. It grows up to 4 metres tall, preferring neutral, loam-based soil and partial shade. However, it's not hardy and should be grown under glass with a minimum temperature of 16 degrees C. Acalypha wilkesiana is commonly known as copperleaf or Jacob's coat. It's a colourful shrub growing up to 3 metres tall, native to Vanuatu and the Pacific Islands. It prefers light, well-drained soil, a shady position and temperatures above 10 degrees C, but can be grown as an annual or houseplant. Ettlingera alatea is commonly known as the torch ginger and is a showy plant native to Southeast Asia. It grows well in a sunny conservatory and produces magnificent flower spikes up to 1 metre tall, topped with dazzling red cone-shaped flowers. It can be grown outdoors in summer and brought indoors for winter. Ficus bengalensis is commonly known as the banyan fig and is native to the Indian subcontinent, where it's considered sacred in the Buddhist faith. Grown indoors as a houseplant, it's easy to care for with sufficient bright light and water when soil is dry to the touch. Ficus auriculata is also known as the Roxburgh fig and is native to tropical and subtropical Asia. It can grow up to 12 metres tall and bears edible fruits. It prefers morning sun or light shade and temperatures above 0 degrees C, so will need to be brought indoors for winter. Areca catechu is also known as the betelnut palm and is a slow-growing plant which resembles a small coconut palm. Grown indoors, it prefers higher humidity, plenty of indirect light, and can even tolerate a few hours of direct sunlight. Soil at root level should remain moist at all times. Codiaeum variegatum is often called the croton. In the UK, this is often grown as a houseplant, but can also be used as a seasonal accent plant outdoors. They have a reputation for being fussy, but with bright light, warmth and humidity, they will thrive. Carica papaya is the tree bearing the edible papaya fruit, first domesticated in Central America. It grows from 5 to 10 metres tall with lovely lobed leaves which can reach 3 foot wide in ideal conditions. It prefers a sunny position with well-draining soil and can be grown outdoors in summer or in a warm conservatory. Lagerstromia is more commonly known as the crepe myrtle. It's a genus of around 50 species of deciduous and evergreen trees and shrubs native to Asia and Oceania, primarily known for their colourful, long-lasting flowers. Lagerstromia indica can be hardy to -5 degrees and grows best in full sun. Thunbergia mysorensis is also known as the Mysore trumpet vine. It's an evergreen vine native to southern tropical India, which can reach 6 metres in height and produces stunning flowers from spring to autumn. It can be grown in a conservatory or a greenhouse with a minimum temperature of 12 degrees C. Solanum quituens is also known as the narangilla and is native to South America. It's a particularly eye-catching plant, which is actually a member of the tomato family. Grown for its attractive purple-veined foliage and spiny leaves, it is a fast-growing plant that can be grown as an annual or brought inside for winter. It prefers full sun or partial shade. Alocasia wentii is known as the New Guinea shield, with beautiful heart-shaped glossy green leaves and metallic maroon colour on its underside. Grown indoors, soil should remain damp but not wet, and it prefers higher humidity and bright indirect light. Xanthosoma sagittifolium is an elephant ear plant native to tropical America. It can grow to 1.8 metres tall and prefers full or part shade. Grown indoors, it prefers bright indirect light and soil that does not dry out. However, it should not be left to sit in water. Alocasia macrorhizis is also known as the giant taro and is native to Southeast Asia, although planted widely in other tropical climates due to its stunning foliage, with leaves growing to around 2 metres long. It can be grown outdoors in the UK and either lifted in winter or kept in pots and brought indoors. Aglonema nitidum is also known as Chinese evergreen and is native to Asia. It's a beautiful indoor plant with green-silver foliage growing to around 25 centimetres tall. Soil should be allowed to dry between waterings and it does well in medium to low light with good air circulation. Dendrocalamus giganteus is commonly known as the giant bamboo and is native to Southeast Asia. It is the tallest bamboo in the world, growing to at least 20 to 30 metres tall, with culms of up to 30 centimetres wide. It's a tropical bamboo which is only hardy to -4 degrees C. Areca triandra is also known as the wild areca palm and is native to Asia. It's a clumping palm with light green stems and white rings that typically grows very straight. It makes a good indoor plant or can be grown outdoors during the warmer months. Corymborcus are commonly known as cinnamon orchids and is a genus of 8 species. It's native to the Pacific Basin and often grows in clumps with thin, wiry stems and pretty white flowers. It prefers well-draining soil, high humidity and bright, indirect light. Acanthus alyssifolius is also known as the sea holly and is native to Australia and Southeast Asia. It grows up to 2 metres tall, but with very shallow taproots, and grows in mangrove habitats. It prefers full sun or semi-shade and lots of water. Brilliantasia oariensis is also known as the tropical giant salvia and is native to Africa. As its common name suggests, it produces beautiful purple salvia-like flowers from June to September. However, it's not hardy in the UK. Palisota hirsuta is a robust perennial herb that grows up to 3 metres tall and is native to Central Africa. Also known as sheep's knee or swollen knee, it's used as an antibiotic and analgesic and currently being researched as an arthritis medication. Musanga cecropoides is also known as the African corkwood tree or umbrella tree. It can grow up to around 45 metres tall with stunning large foliage forming a canopy that gives it the nickname umbrella. It requires plenty of moisture in the growing season and needs to be kept warm over winter. Hibiscus schizopetalis is a tropical hibiscus variety native to Eastern Africa. It can grow up to 4 metres tall, preferring alkaline or neutral loam-based soil and full sun, but will need to be brought indoors for winter where it will do best with plenty of bright light. Whitfieldia elongata is commonly called white candles and is native to Africa. It's a scrambling shrub which produces beautiful white flowers all year round and is suitable to be grown as a houseplant. It prefers soil which is slightly acidic with good drainage. Blihia sapida is also known as the ackee and is an evergreen tree from West Africa which can grow to 25 metres tall. It produces fragrant flowers and edible fruit, although fruit is considered poisonous if eaten before being fully ripe. It can be grown as a houseplant with regular watering and lots of direct sunlight. Well, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please do leave your comments below, and I hope to see you next time on Freya's Tropical Garden. If you're enjoying the content of Freya's Tropical Garden, then please help this channel grow by subscribing. Every new subscriber is appreciated, and by turning on notifications to my videos, you can also make sure that you don't miss any episodes in future. You can also follow me on social media, where I'll release links to my latest videos, as well as share my flower of the day. You can follow me on X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, or join my Facebook group to engage in discussions and share your own photos. Freya's Tropical Garden webpage also has links to my videos and helpful advice. And now, in order to support the continued growth of this channel, there is an option of becoming a member, which will give you access to a private Facebook group where I'll be running monthly competitions exclusively for members, as well as additional exclusive content. And as always, I welcome your feedback in the comments below.